There is a thought you've had today. Maybe it was small. Maybe it lasted less than a second. You probably didn't even notice it. But here is what neuroscience has quietly confirmed. That thought left a physical mark on your brain. And if you think it again tomorrow, and the day after, and every single morning for the next 365 days, you will not be the same person. Not metaphorically, biologically. In the year 2000, Harvard psychiatry professor Dr. Robert Stickgold ran an unusual experiment. He had participants play Tetris for hours. Then he woke them during the first few minutes of sleep. What they reported was strange. They saw rotating blocks, falling shapes, fitting into gaps that didn't exist. They saw Tetris everywhere. But then Stickgold added a twist. He ran the same experiment on patients with severe amnesia, people physically incapable of forming new memories. They couldn't remember playing the game. They couldn't remember the researchers. And yet, when woken, they still reported the falling blocks. The pattern had bypassed memory entirely. It had embedded itself directly into the brain's background processing. Think about what that means. A simple, repetitive pattern, played for a single day, hijacked the unconscious mind of people who couldn't even remember it. In 1949, neuropsychologist Donald Hebb proposed something radical. He said when two neurons fire at the same time, repeatedly, the connection between them physically strengthens. Scientists eventually distilled his entire theory into 7 words: neurons that fired together, wired together. A new thought, a constructive one, begins as a dirt path, fragile, easy to lose. But repeated daily, and the brain coats that path in myelin, a fatty insulating sheath that accelerates the signal. The dirt path becomes a highway. What once required effort becomes automatic. This isn't motivation, this is biology. So if a negative thought is the problem, the obvious answer is to stop thinking it, push it out, override it, just don't. In 1987, psychologist Daniel Wegner put this to the test. He placed subjects in a room and gave them one instruction: do not think of a white bear. Participants rang a bell every time the thought intruded. The bell rang more than once a minute. And when Wegner reversed the experiment, when he finally allowed them to think of the bear, the obsession doubled. Here's why. The moment you try to suppress a thought, the brain launches a background monitor to check that it's gone, and that monitor keeps finding it. Fighting old thoughts doesn't starve them. It feeds them. The only way out is not suppression, it's replacement. Plant one new anchor thought. Give the mind somewhere else to go. Every single morning, before you are fully conscious, you make a decision that sets the neurochemical weather for the next 16 hours. When you hit snooze, the brain begins a new sleep cycle it will never finish. When the alarm rings again, you are pulled out mid-cycle into what researchers call sleep inertia. That fog can last up to 4 hours. At the same time, your cortisol awakening response, the morning surge designed to mobilize your immune system and sharpen your mind, gets fragmented. The body reads the signal, retreat, not ready, avoid, but feet on the floor. An immediate, committed action activates the prefrontal cortex, interrupts the limbic resistance, and triggers a forward-moving release of dopamine. One micro decision, made half asleep, compounded 365 times. That is the difference between a passive identity and a disciplined one. And then there is Viktor Frankl, an Austrian psychiatrist, Auschwitz, Dachau. His parents, his brother, his pregnant wife taken. His life's intellectual work confiscated at the gate. In the lowest documented depths of human suffering, Frankl did not fight his thoughts. He chose one. He held the image of his wife in his mind, clear, vivid, constant. And even as he was forced to march through snow, starving, delirious, he rebuilt his confiscated manuscript in his head, scribbling notes on stolen scraps of paper. He later wrote that, even when physical freedom is completely stripped away, the last freedom, the one no camp, no crisis, no circumstance can touch, is the ability to choose how you respond. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lives everything. Frankl didn't survive because he was stronger than the others. He survived because he held a single thought and refused to let it go. Here is what all of this points to. Not, I want to change. Not, I'm going to try. Not even, I will. James Clear, after years of studying behavioral transformation, arrived at something deceptively simple. The people who change aren't the ones who set better goals. They're the ones who quietly shift what they believe about themselves. Every action you take is a vote for the person you're becoming. One paragraph written is a vote that says, I am a writer. Feet on the floor at 6:30 is a vote that says, I am someone who shows up. The neurons fire, they wire. The dirt path becomes the highway. The thought becomes the person. What is the thought you've been repeating? The one you never examine? And what does it say about the person you're quietly becoming? See you in the next one.